Hello everybody and welcome to today's video, and in this video I'm going to give a review of this Litionite 1000 watt power generator. Actually, I don't know why they call it a generator, it's just a lithium battery. Now before I proceed any further, this isn't a sponsored video by Litionite, this is purely a product I bought myself. Now I've had this supply since the beginning of December, and I primarily bought it for the camper van and to power all my gadgets. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through this review, show you all the pros and cons of what I like about it and what I don't like about it. Now if you go onto Amazon, you will find many batteries like this. But what attracted my attention to this particular one was because of the price per watt. Now, as you might find, and I found when I began this search, on average it's about £1 a watt. And this particular unit is 1000 watts. And most of them came from China, and most of them will take 2 to 3 weeks to get here. Some of the descriptions were a bit ropey, bad English, and that is a bad sign for me to the quality of the unit. And if I ever needed to return it, that seems a bit iffy. A lot of them weren't actually through Amazon Prime either, so returning them would have been difficult. But I went on to German websites, I came across this unit, which isn't listed in the UK. And the other thing that brought my attention to this unit was price per watt. Now normally, if you look on at least the UK Amazon, on the Chinese unit, it's costing about an average £1 per watt. Now this is 1000 watts, so that's £1,000. This was only £680 after European exchange for the 1000 watts. And for the 1500 watt unit, same type, it was only £900. But I didn't go for that unit because of the unit size. The length of the unit increases by another third, and I needed to fit it in the van. And it also gets pretty heavy. This one's pretty light, so I tried to buy it directly and I couldn't because Amazon have changed their rules. So I contacted Litionite and they said, we're set up at Amazon UK. So they did that, I managed to get hold of this unit. So let's have a look at the unit. Now on the front of the unit we have the various outputs. What attracted me to this unit was the 4 USB-A ports here and 1 USB-C port quick charge, which I wanted to use for my MacBook. We will come on to that later. We have a 12 volt cigarette lighter. We have two 220 volt AC outputs. As you can see, they're European outputs. That's not a problem here in the UK. I'll just use an adapter. And if we ever go abroad, then we can just use a European plug. Quite versatile. Here we have DC out, and of all things, which is covered up here, a jumper for a battery. Up here we have the on-off switch, and then here we can individually control the DC output and the AC output. Around the back we have the cable unit and mains input. So we have this little flap door that comes out so far, which is quite neat. The guys at Litionite actually gave me both a European cable and a 240 volt cable. I've added the Velcro to tidy things up. We have the 240 volts in, and we have DC in, and we got a cooling fan. Pretty neat and tidy. Now the only thing I would say is when this cable is plugged in, it would have been nice to have a little slot in here to run the cable through and still shut this door, because this has to remain open and it looks like it could break quite easily if you just give this a kick. So I might actually cut a slot in here myself, but that's for a later date. But otherwise it packs away nicely, and there you go. Now let me just switch the unit on, and there is a nice colour liquid crystal display showing the output wattage. Now as I found, this is the total between AC and DC at the same time. We have indicators for the AC and DC on off, and the battery capacity. So you can switch on AC, and it'll turn from red to white, give you a beep, and now you get AC out. You can switch on DC and get DC out. You can switch AC off, just use DC out. This should make the unit much more efficient because it doesn't have to do that DC to AC to DC conversion. And that's a really nice feature. Now one of the main motivations for getting this battery was because of my MacBook. This MacBook is a 2018 15-inch and it draws 87 watts. Now I calculated that if this ran flat, I'd be able to charge it about 9-10 times. That's not counting all the other gadgets that I would try and charge at the same time, so obviously that would decrease. So off the grid, I could definitely use my laptop for rendering video for a good few days and nights. Now, as I said, this unit comes with 4 USB-A ports and 1 USB-C port, quick charge. And of my experience of using USB ports to charge my laptop, they all work nicely. So let me just switch on the unit and show you. Switch on the DC, plug in the USB-C cable. Hear the pong, hear the pong, hear the pong. Now this is the problem. Even though this laptop is charged at 100%, the unit keeps switching on and off. And I believe that's because it's drawing too much current. So even if I shut this laptop down, I keep getting this ponging. So basically, it's not charging the laptop, which is really a big disappointment. So that means I have to go back to using the power supply. So as you can see here, this is the power supply of the Mac. It's now actually gone down. It's gone from 100% down to 99%, which shows that this battery is not charging the laptop through the USB-C port. We can also see here on the display, we're drawing 0 watts. Okay, let's stop the racket, the ping pong. I'll just remove the USB-C cable, put it into the end of the Mac's power supply, plug in my UK plug. There you go. I'll just switch off the DC because I can. I'll switch on the AC. Hear the peep. And we're now charging the laptop through the mains and no repeated ping pong. Now, as you can see here, this is what I expected through the USB-C type port. You can see the wattage being drawn, which is actually quite a nice feature of this. You can see how hard your Mac's working. We'll see how hard I'm rendering video on watts. Now what I thought would happen, the unit, like most USB-C chargers, would just sit there and dribble charge, not go, that's too much current, switch off. By the way, this is a pure sine wave, so it's not going to be detrimental to any electronic apparatus being plugged in. One of the good features of the Litionite Hangar device which I liked was the fact it could also be used as a kind of a UPS. So you can still charge the device and use all its outputs. But as I found when we had a power cut, plug in my Mac Pro, the fan noise on the unit is quite loud. So what I'm going to do now is just demonstrate that. Here is the UPS power to the Mac and some monitors. The unit is off. Notice how quiet it is in here. Very, very quiet. I'm going to switch this on. You can see it's all initialized and set up. Now switch on the AC. Watch the wattage. It'll kick in. There you go. The power's gone up. Now the Mac is off at the moment. And this is the AC current I'm drawing on some subsidiary devices. I'm now going to switch on the Mac, which I know will take it above that 100 watt limit. And now you can hear the fan noise, which is actually quite loud. Which is a pity really, because I was hoping to use this maybe as a replacement UPS device should my current UPS die. But that fan is just a teeny bit too loud. Now I've just shut down the Mac, but the other thing you may have noticed is I am pulling more current than I am charging, so the unit has now gone down to 98%, which is not perfect. Now the one thing I did find amusing about this power supply was the user manual. This teeny weeny little user manual. And when I say it's teeny, you need some glasses. Let me show you. So, for instance, this is the layout page. Now I don't know about you guys, but I couldn't read that. So I don't know if I can see that. That is one of the smallest manuals I've ever come across. Now, having it in use since December, I've had it in the van, fully charged and in temperatures as low as 5 degrees C for 2 weeks, and come back to the unit still reads 100%, so it's nice to know that the battery hasn't deteriorated in that time. So how long does it take to charge this unit? Well, I haven't depleted it completely. It arrived in the box at 66%. I plugged it into the mains, and to get to 100% it took 2 to 3 hours. So I expect at a campsite, I reckon I could charge most if not all of the battery ready for the next few days off the grid. So all in all, very pleased with the unit. Great price, great guys to deal with at Litionite if you have any problems. Compact, reliable, has the ports that I need. The only slight disappointment is not being able to plug my MacBook Pro in the USB-C port, but that's not the end of the world. I'll plug it in and keep my MacBook charged so I can carry on making videos. I can certainly plug in all the rest of the gadgets at the same time, plus the phones and anything else, and that should keep us going quite happily for a good few days off the grid. Now, I'll leave a link to this unit in the description below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you liked it even more, please subscribe. And if you have any comments or questions, please add them in the comments below and I will get back to you as soon as possible. See you guys. Happy van life.